You feel it, don't you? That invisible weight in your chest the moment you wake up. That constant, nagging what if that echoes in the back of your mind throughout the day. What if I lose my job to an algorithm? What if I'm not enough to keep up with this world? What if everything I've built just falls apart? In 2026, fear isn't just an emotion anymore. It's a parasite. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry designed to keep you scrolling, keep you anxious, and keep you paralyzed. We live in an era of infinite information but zero certainty. We are more connected than ever, yet we feel more vulnerable than any generation in history. But 2,000 years ago, in the middle of a world just as chaotic as ours, a Roman emperor, the most powerful man on earth, discovered a secret. He didn't have a therapist, he didn't have anti-anxiety medication, and he didn't have an escape. He had a mental firewall. A framework of the mind that allowed him to remain as calm as a mountain while the storms of plague, war, and betrayal burned around him. His name was Marcus Aurelius. And today, I am going to give you the keys to his fortress. This is not another motivational speech. This is not positive thinking. This is psychological warfare against your own anxiety. This is how you build unshakable courage in a world that profits from your fear. To conquer fear, we first have to understand what it actually is. Most of us believe that fear is a reaction to external events. We think we are afraid of the stock market crash, or the rejection letter, or the medical diagnosis. But the Stoics knew a deeper truth. The philosopher Epictetus famously said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about that for a second. Fear doesn't exist out there in the world. There is no such thing as a scary future. There is only the future, and then there is the lens you use to look at it. You aren't afraid of the event itself, you are afraid of your judgment of that event. You are telling yourself a story that a certain outcome will be bad or unbearable. But what if you change the story? To conquer fear, we don't try to change the world, that's a fool's errand. We change the lens. We move the battle from the outside world into the only place where we actually have a chance to win, our own minds. This brings us to the most powerful tool in the Stoic arsenal, the dichotomy of control. This is the foundation of all mental wealth. Imagine your life is divided by a single, sharp line. On one side, you have things that are within your power, your thoughts, your intentions, your actions, and your character. On the other side, you have everything else, the economy, the weather, the past, the future, and other people's opinions of you. The Stoics observe that 99% of human suffering comes from a single mistake, trying to exert control over the uncontrollable. We spend our nights sweating over what our boss thinks of us, or whether our investments will tank, or how someone else will react to our news. Every second you spend worrying about the outside side of the line is a second you are leaking power. You are literally giving your happiness away to strangers and circumstances. Stop. Imagine your mind as a fortress. If you are out there in the field trying to stop the wind from blowing, you are vulnerable. But if you step inside the walls and focus only on what you can control, your own effort, your own integrity, your own response, you become untouchable. When you finally accept that you cannot control the outcome, but you can absolute control your input, you will feel a weight lift off your shoulders that you didn't even know was there. That is the birth of true sovereignty. But how do we deal with the things that actually do go wrong? This is where the Stoics get aggressive. Most modern advice tells you to think positive and visualize success. The Stoics did the exact opposite. They practiced what they called Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. This is the mental fire drill. Most people spend their lives running away from their fears, hoping they never come true. But when you run from a shadow, it only gets bigger. The Stoics would sit in a quiet room and purposefully imagine the very things they were afraid of. They would visualize losing their job. They would visualize being mocked. They would even visualize their own death. They didn't do this to be morbid. They did it to be prepared. When you look your monster in the eye, it loses its power. Most of the things we fear are like a dark room, terrifying until you turn on the light and realize it was just furniture. Tonight, I want you to try this. Take your biggest fear and walk through it. What if it actually happens? What then? You would adapt. You would find a way. You would realize that your core self, your ability to think, to reason, and to act with virtue, is still there. You suffer more in imagination than in reality. By rehearsing the storm in your mind, you rob the storm of its power to surprise you. You realize that you can endure much more than your anxiety wants you to believe. As you get deeper into this practice, you reach the master level of Stoic wisdom, a concept known as Amor Fati, the love of fate. This is where you stop just enduring your life and start mastering it. Think of your life as a fire. A small candle can be blown out by a gust of wind. It's fragile. But a great bonfire? A great bonfire welcomes the wind. It takes the very thing that tried to extinguish it and uses it as fuel to grow even brighter and hotter. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the ultimate secret of the successful and the wealthy. When they face a setback, they don't cry, "Why me?" They say, "Use me." If they fail at a business, that failure becomes the data they need to win the next one. If they are betrayed, that betrayal becomes the lesson they need in discernment. Amor Fati means you stop wishing for things to be different and you start loving things as they are. Because if you love everything that happens, how can you ever be defeated? You aren't just a survivor anymore, you are a transformer. You turn every problem into a promotion for your character. Fear cannot exist in a heart that is busy turning every obstacle into an opportunity. But to maintain this state of mind in the chaos of 2026, you must build what the Stoics called the Inner Citadel. This is your sanctuary. It's built with the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Wisdom to see the world for what it is, not what you fear it to be. Justice to act rightly toward others, regardless of their actions toward you. Courage to do what is right even when you are afraid, and temperance to stay in control of your own impulses. This citadel is not built in a day. It is built in the small moments. When someone cuts you off in traffic and you choose not to get angry, that is a brick in the wall. When you feel the urge to check your phone for a hit of dopamine but you choose to stay focused on your work, that is another brick. When you feel the fear of a new project but you do the work anyway, that is the foundation. You were not born to be a slave to your nervous system. You were not born to be a puppet pulled by the strings of social media trends or economic cycles. You were born to lead yourself. True serenity isn't found in a quiet life, it's found in a quiet mind amidst a loud world. It's the ability to look at the storm and say, "You can take my money, you can take my comfort, you can take my status, but you cannot have my mind." So, how do you translate these ancient insights into your life starting tomorrow? First, start a practice of self-examination. Every morning, before you touch your phone, remind yourself of the dichotomy of control. Ask yourself, what battles am I planning to fight today that aren't even mine to win? Second, stop avoiding the discomfort. If you are afraid of a conversation, have it. If you are afraid of a failure, start the project. Not because you are guaranteed to succeed, but because the act of facing the fear is the victory itself. You are training your courage muscle. Third, embrace the present moment. Much of our fear is directed towards a future that doesn't exist. The Stoics taught that the present is the only time we ever truly possess. The past is a dream. The future is a fog. All you have is the now. If you can be brave right now, that is all you ever need to do. Do not let the future disturb you, for you will arrive there with the same tools of reason that you have today. The path to unshakable courage is not a destination. It's a continuous dialogue between your soul and the reality of the world. It's a commitment to being the master of your own internal kingdom. This journey isn't for everyone. Most people will continue to live in the gray twilight of anxiety, complaining about the world and hoping for someone to save them. But you are still here. You are watching this because you know there is a higher version of yourself, a version that is sovereign, disciplined, and fearless. The world of 2026 will continue to be loud. It will continue to be uncertain. But you will be the mountain. You will be the fire that consumes the wind. If this exploration of Stoic wisdom resonated with you, if you are ready to stop being a victim of your fears and start becoming the architect of your own character, then I invite you to join us. This channel is a community of seekers, people who believe that ancient wisdom is the ultimate edge in the modern world. Subscribe, and let's build our inner citadels together. Let's master the chaos, together. Your reason is your guide. Your courage is your shield. Your character is your destiny. Until next time, stay sovereign.